The 1920s were a nomadic era of professional wrestling, and in this TEW IX local to global challenge, we continue to face the consequences of some seriously steep odds. Our owner has died, our workers have been stolen, and companies around us are closing their doors. The world of professional wrestling is proving to be ruthless. Can we not only survive, but flourish? Welcome back everyone to the series, to the WHAM, and we have found ourselves in a predicament right off the bat. As you can see, we've got some issues. Not only has Frankie Ashby decided to walk out of the WHAM after being extremely unhappy, but SPW Don Loomis has poached our boy Super Demon and brought him onto SPW. Now, Super Demon was not offered an exclusive contract, but the rules of this playthrough state that we cannot employ any workers that are employed with SPW because of the poor relationship between the two companies, and the spirit of Frank Norris just wouldn't allow that. In the past, I've just straight up released people so far, but we're going to give him a 1-month contract. We're not going to give him any other appearances, but I just don't want to release him and burn that bridge with Super Demon because I have grown a liking to this guy. But Frankie Ashby as well, leaving the WHAM for the second time in his career. He's now just exclusively CWB, and with Alexander Keith gone, that puts Charlie Thompson at a rather lonely position as the only bootlegger on the roster. And the lack of picture is a reflection for how he's feeling. Dark and empty on the inside with all of his mates out of the company. And with everything going on, we've got to turn in a good show, that's for sure. We're staring right at the face of the Amazing Grappling Spectacle 30, and Levi Andrews has got to right the ship of the WHAM. We're down one of our junior heavyweights that was thoroughly involved in the title picture and a big storyline, and we're also down our biggest draw in Alexander Keith, and he is actually re-signed back to SPW. So even if he didn't just leave us, we probably would be without him by now. Anyway, we aren't giving anybody the night off. We gained a few character ideas, and the locker room incidents sees Black Bull coming to us with an angle idea. I like that. Super Demon was brought before the wrestler's court for the very last time, accused of not paying attention during a locker room meeting. He's very clearly checked out and ready to go to SPW. Black Bull got into a heated argument with a fan. We're going to give him a stern warning. Had a small negative impact on him, of course it did. Victor Garza turned up very late. We're going to fine him. He's unhappy, and we just can't do anything right with the handling of our talent apparently today. We're going to go to pull a rib, and we're going to pull it on our T-Man, Yavraj Tunnel. It'll be a practical joke, and it failed to provide any positive or negative effects at all. And to get us started with the Amazing Grappling Spectacle 30, we've got a tag team dark match between Randy Edson and RT Lincoln taking on Steven Vecchio and John Wolf. They got a segment rating of 19. Some good things came out of it as John Wolf got an in-ring performance of 26. We see that Vecchio and Wolf showed excellent chemistry when teaming together, although Vecchio only turned in a performance of 16, Randy Edson only with a performance of 19, and RT Lincoln had a performance of 22. To get the show started, we had our man Levi Andrews cutting a promo in the ring, welcoming the crowd. Levi Andrews touted himself up as an innovative wrestling booker and mind of the business, and that he intends on taking the WHAM to new heights through never-before-seen match types and stipulations, promising constant excitement and entertainment. Now, we're not going to totally modernize this company right now, but Levi Andrews is going to be that pioneer, and especially if the rest of the world is just going to go off doing their own thing, we're going to have Levi Andrews start introducing some stuff. And Levi Andrews reveals that Bronson Fraley's next challenger will be determined tonight, as Neil Allman and Friedrich Herzog will each be competing in matches, and if they win their matches, they'll earn contention. If they're both victorious, the man who wins in a shorter time frame will take the spot as number 1 contender, so a little bit of a beat the clock challenge, more or less. Beat the stopwatch challenge. Segment rating of 41, great way to start the show. Not the best match, although we did have Benson Sandy turn in an in-ring performance of 30, although Charlie Thompson picks up the victory here in about 7.5 minutes. Segment rating of 19 overall, but not bad work here from the two heavyweights. Obviously, we've got some backstage penalties that are just going to hurt our segments, even if we get decent initial ratings. Next match, junior heavyweight action. Segment rating of 20, Kyson Mays, in a big surprise, defeats Wayne Blankenship, quickly rolling up Blankenship, and Wayne Blankenship was in fact kind of leading this match. He held control for a great deal of it. Although Kyson Mays, he's been scrapping lately. He's been scratching and clawing to improve his positioning in the junior heavyweight division. And he keeps fighting, he keeps hanging with Wayne Blankenship, and eventually he pulls a fast one on the former champ and gets a victory. Next segment, we had the champions come down to the ring, Albie Dewberry and Bronson Fraley, as they were scheduled to present themselves and their titles to the fans, as well as show off some displays of strength as well. Bronson Fraley wowed the fans with his power and seemed to be amused by Albie Dewberry's acts, that while impressive, don't quite stack up to the heavyweight champion. So obviously, the heavyweight champion is probably going to be more powerful than the junior heavyweight champion, and we just see Bronson Fraley's ego coming out a little bit. As the sportsmen they are, though, they do work the crowd, and we get a segment rating of 31 from it. Another segment rating of 20. These matches are just kind of meh so far, but we had a decent reaction from the crowd. Neil Allman defeating Blue Mage in 7 minutes 17 seconds. So if Friedrich Herzog loses or wins the match in longer than 7 minutes 17 seconds, then Neil Allman will be the one to challenge Bronson Fraley next. Blue Mage had an in-ring performance of 24, not bad. Neil Allman had an in-ring performance of 30. You expect the higher numbers from your main event guys like Neil Allman, so we'll take that, but we want to see that final rating be a little bit better. And our main event, Friedrich Herzog Black Bull. Segment rating of 22. Yeah, our morale is just really hurting us. Yeah, we're still incurring quite a few penalties, but not as many. But Friedrich Herzog, great performance with an in-ring performance of 42. The wrestling rating was 33, so it really wasn't terrible between these two guys. But overall, we get a segment rating of 22 because of all those penalties. It's not the last segment of the night, but you can see here that Friedrich Herzog defeated Black Bull in just less than 5.5 minutes, crowning Friedrich Herzog as the #1 contender. And not only did Friedrich Herzog take care of business, but Blue Mage came down to the ring as a spectator. This would grab the attention of Black Bull and eventually throw him off his game a little bit, allowing Friedrich Herzog to capitalize. And after the main event, Levi Andrews and Blue Mage confront Black Bull, who is clearly frustrated from the loss and distraction. Andrews seems to be scolding Black Bull, reprimanding him. Black Bull would then shove Levi Andrews away, causing Blue Mage to step in. Tensions were high, but no physical altercation came from this. We implemented the angle idea that Black Bull fed us. It was a near certainty and it still failed, so that's unfortunate. And it bumps us down to a segment rating of 20, when otherwise it probably would have been north of 30, I would at least hope, because they got decent ratings for acting and they were all on dramatic acting for this segment. More tension between Black Bull and the new boss, Levi Andrews, because if you remember, Black Bull was the right-hand man for Frank Norris. That is no longer the case. But that closes out our show. We get an overall rating of 25, not bad, but we know we can do better. Charlie Thompson, Benson Sandy did not have a good match, and those 20s weren't great either. But we can highlight Friedrich Herzog and Bronson Fraley for doing a good job, and we're going to praise them for doing just that. We're down just under $200 on our financial report. Upping our ticket sales definitely helped, but we're paying $400 for travel alone on Herzog and our road agent. Even if we weren't paying travel for one of those guys, we'd be seeing a massive change and even possible profit. Our popularity does go up to 19 in the Mid-South. You love to see it. And if you're enjoying this TEW content, this TEW series, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel so we can keep producing these videos. And in my constant search of a road agent, I actually found a new road agent that was generated in America, in the Northwest, and he was picked up by SPW. SPW now has 2 road agents, and they're both local. They're not having to pay for the travel, where I am having to pay for Victor Garza's travel every single time I do a show. So Carl Barger, 28 psychology, 33 experience. You know, it's not great. It's comparable to Victor Garza, but he does not have that hefty $200 travel ticket to him. So that's just really unfortunate. The SPW just continues to get in our way. First they take Super Demon, and now they've got this road agent, and we really need a new road agent because he's not worth the $200 in travel, plus on top of his contract already. It's just very, very unfortunate, but we're just gonna have to wait for maybe another road agent to generate. But the fact that this guy generated in the United States, I don't feel like there's gonna be another one that's gonna generate into the United States anytime soon. So really, really unfortunate. QCW has been given a warning that they may face bankruptcy if they don't turn their financial situation around. We might have another company that's about to go under and cease to exist. And with that being said, we're all squared away for the amazing Grappling Spectacle 31, looking to make this a better show than the last. We've got a World Heavyweight Championship match in store for this episode. We've got some locker room incidents, as always. Friedrich Herzog has a creative finish for me. Love to see it. Black Bull caused heat when he pulled a mean-spirited rib on Charlie Thompson. We're going to find Black Bull. It had a small positive impact on him, and Charlie Thompson is pleased at the decision. Benson Sandy got a lot of heat. We're going to find him. Nothing noteworthy happened from it. And Super Demon, this will be his last day in the locker room. He caused heat when a mean-spirited rib. We're going to find him, and we're going to get a little bit of money from him. Even though I don't think we actually get any money from him. But John Wolf is pleased at this decision. Victor Garza, heat in the locker room. We're going to find him. And Kyson Mays brought before the wrestler's court. Small positive impact. Blue Mage brought before the wrestler's court. A whole bunch of these incidents today. Herzog and Hatcher butted heads and are both furious with one another. Hatcher and Hines have bonded recently, and that is a whole bunch of incidents for one show, my goodness. But we're going to address the locker room. We're going to inspire everyone. And we are ready to jump right into the amazing grappling spectacle 31 with our pre-show match. Brian Hatcher, Charlie Thompson. Charlie Thompson with an in-ring performance of 27. Things are looking all right for Charlie Thompson. Segment rating is 16. Not the worst way to get the night started, but we'd like to see a yellow number in that segment rating slot. Our first match of the night has got Neil Allman and Yavraj Tanel putting on a technical masterclass, as these two are some of our most technically proficient on the roster. Seeing if that might help out our ratings, we actually get a segment rating of 24. Neil Allman with an in-ring performance of 37, and Tanel had an in-ring performance of 27. So nice job here. The match got the show off to a strong start. Our next segment, Randy Edson has actually got some decent momentum going. We want to try to keep him featured. I didn't have a match for him otherwise. So we just got Levi Andrews scheduling Randy Edson to gain some exposure and popularity, as he's scheduled to perform some feats of strength in front of the crowd. This is kind of the equivalent of a superstar vignette even. So segment rating of 26, not a bad job by Randy Edson. Continues to improve with a nice segment rating of 44 from Levi Andrews as he takes a moment to build up the next match, citing a clash of special attractions as Black Bull and Blue Mage are set to battle it out, citing that Black Bull will graciously receive one more chance to prove his worth. And these two put on a wild brawl. Terrible wrestling, but these two aren't our most technically proficient. But we get a segment rating of 20. You see our penalty down here. Friedrich Herzog didn't do well as the road agent, as the match was badly put together. Yes, we've got Friedrich Herzog dipping his toe in the road agent spot, as he actually might even be a better road agent than Victor Garza, so he actually took the reins for a lot of these matches here. But Blue Mage defeating Black Bull in another disappointing effort from Black Bull, and you really start to feel bad for the boy because he has really been on quite the losing streak as of late. Blue Mage is looking good though in his emergence as Levi Andrews, enforcer / right-hand man. Our next match, the Junior Heavyweight Championship, is on the line, as Albie Dewberry defending against and defeating Kyson Mays in just under 10 minutes, forcing Kyson Mays to submit. This is his second defense of the Junior Heavyweight Championship. We got a segment rating of 24 here. Albie Dewberry with an in-ring performance of 42. My gosh. So we see some really nice work here from our champion. Kyson Mays with an in-ring performance of 20. Not terrible, but he is getting more of an opportunity here in the Junior Heavyweight division. We do get a segment following this match, as Wayne Blankenship would make his way to the ring, grabbing a microphone once ringside, demanding that he not be forgotten. He points out that Kyson Mays should now head to the back of the line, and Wayne Blankenship would insert himself as a viable contender once again. Levi Andrews appears at the curtain, stating that while Mays did lose this opportunity, Wayne Blankenship hasn't exactly been unbeatable either. Levi Andrews makes the announcement that the first ever triple threat match will take place in the WHAM in just a month's time, as Albie Dewberry will have to defend his title against both Kyson Mays and Wayne Blankenship in a one-fall, free-for-all match. So the crowd is intrigued at the idea of this three-man contest. We get a segment rating of 32. We've seen a tag team match. Now we're going to see a triple threat match get introduced into the WHAM. So we see some good work here from the Junior Heavyweight division. Now our main event, the Heavyweight Championship, is on the line, and we see Bronson Fraley defeating Friedrich Herzog in 6 minutes 10 seconds with a pinfall. A clean pinfall. Bronson Fraley's got the spirit of Frank Norris flowing within him as he turns in a performance of 27 and Friedrich Herzog turns in a performance of 44. Segment rating of 30 for the main event match, wrestling rating of 35, but that crowd rating brings it down. And we got quite a few bonuses, but of course we get those penalties as well. And on to the final segment of the night, which is unfortunate to see this as an 18. But following his huge victory, Bronson Fraley is visibly emotional and clutches his championship while pointing to the sky as a little nod to our fallen friend Frank Norris. I don't understand. Segment rating of 18, that feels a little shisty. Bronson Fraley was just doing a bit of dramatic acting. Apparently he fell flat here. Hopefully that doesn't impact our final rating of the night. And we get an overall rating of 31. Pretty good. I will definitely take that. Could have been better if we didn't have such a stinker of our show-ending segment, but you know, it is what it is. And we're given some positive reinforcement for Neil Allman and Albie Dewberry. We're floating right around losing $200 a show right now. And again, if we can eliminate one travel cost. For our long distance guys, that can make a big difference. And I totally forgot about Randy Edson's contract expiring, so we're actually going to re-sign the boy, assuming he wants to come back. We're going to give him just a standard ongoing handshake contract, and you can see here that Super Demon has officially left the WAM. That is unfortunate. Goodbye, Super Demon. You were quite the shithead, but man, you could go in the ring. We see that Sorely Monaghan, following the closure of Monaghan's Marvelous Wrestling, he is employed by SPW, POG, and CWB. So it's good to see that it didn't take long for him to find some work. And speaking of finding some work, there are a few wrestlers floating around that I want to add to our roster, starting with Joel Cartwright, 21 years old, junior heavyweight. He's got a relaxed personality, and he's actually got some good physical stats. He's a great brawler, and he's got some good technical prowess as well. He doesn't have much popularity, but he is definitely worth bringing in to help bolster our junior heavyweight division. And then we've got Saeed Wyndham. New blood, no popularity anywhere whatsoever, absolutely zero experience, but we're going to bring the boy on. We're probably going to use him as a sponge to take some losses on some pre-show matches for a while, to build him up some experience and get him in the swing of things. So we'll see if he accepts that. And then we've got two other guys on our short list that we're not going to go after right now. In Leroy Race, he's got a prickly personality, but man, he's got some good technical prowess as well, and some decent fundamentals on top of that. And then Roger Stagg, we would have to pay for his travel coming from New England, which is a lot better than paying from someone coming from Germany, Central Europe, or anything like that. We'll see when we hear back from those contracts, but I assume we'll be alright. And yes, we do. Both of them do accept. You'll love to see it. And QCW has officially declared bankruptcy, and they are no longer existing as a company. That leaves us with 9. And the WAM is sitting right there at number 4. We are the 3rd biggest company in the United States, and at least everybody's at the tiny size, so wrestling is in development in this universe. Although I will say, if we plan on being in business much longer, we're going to have to fix this debt. And we can see here that Victor Garza is now angry, and we just have a knack for really angering our road agents, apparently. I don't know. He actually had some positive incidents occur backstage, but he just gets so annoyed at the backstage atmosphere, but he continues to contribute to the backstage atmosphere. But we're actually going to give him paid time off, and that means we're going to have to roll with Friedrich Herzog as our next road agent, so we're not going to be able to put him as part of the show, but that's something I'm willing to try out. I was kind of considering it as an option anyway for this next show. And taking a look at our morale overall, you can see we're actually eliminating the number of negative influences. We're still at very poor, and the only other notable factors is the company's poor finances. Dare I say it, we're not terribly far off from rectifying this morale issue, but we're also at a very, very fragile state, and it's very volatile right now. And Black Bull is actually another guy we're going to give a month off to. And that means we don't have to give anybody the night off. We got a few character ideas that we're going to use, but first we got some locker room incidents to get through. John Wolf helped create a great atmosphere backstage when he pulled a great rib on the entire locker room that had everyone laughing afterwards. You'll love to see it. Yuvraj Tunnel got into a heated argument with a fan. We're going to fine him. He's unhappy at the action. That might just make him leave. Honestly, I'm not sure. Randy Edson was brought before Wrestlers Court, accused of not paying attention during a locker room meeting. Neil Allman and Blue Mage are still building that relationship, so we might have to meddle in with that. And I was really hoping to start making some positive relationships, but honestly, I might just need to separate these two. We're going to try the negative metal, we're going to see what happens, and hopefully this does not blow up in our face. Now, before our show starts, we're going to get into these character ideas. We've got a safe bet for Albie Dewberry. It was a success. He's still annoyed. Unfortunate. We're going to use this near certainty on him as well. It was a success, but he's still annoyed. So we're going to try a third one. It was a success, and the boy is still annoyed. Albie Dewberry is not going to improve his morale here. We're going to use a near certainty on Randy Edson, as he's got that class clown personality. If we can improve his morale, he might be able to passively improve others' morale. It was a success. He's still annoyed, but at least he's got warm momentum now. A safe bet for Neil Allman. It was a success. He's still annoyed. And we've got a near certainty for John Wolf as well, which we are going to use. It was a success. His momentum shoots up, but he stays at the pleased status. And here we are, ready to go with the very next episode of the Amazing Grappling Spectacle, the final edition of this episode. And we get started with a tag team match. August Washburn and Brian Hatcher. It's been a while since we've seen him, so we wanted to get him back in the ring, going up against R.T. Lincoln and Randy Edson. Brian Hatcher would get the victory when he pinned Randy Edson after a lariat, and we see Edson and Lincoln with in-ring performances of 22, Hatcher with a 23, and Washburn with a 19. Segment rating gets a 19 in total. Next segment, this one will start the show, and we've got Levi Andrews welcoming the crowd, and promising another big night as he gives a preview for the triple threat match later on. During his speech, Bronson Fraley would make his way to the ring in a very celebratory mood given his successful title defense at the last show. The two huge personalities would butt heads a bit, with Fraley often referencing Frank Norris's fondness for public celebrations following big title matches, and he would encourage Levi Andrews to embrace a generational talent a bit more. Levi Andrews would sarcastically shrug this off, claiming he has embraced his own arrival ever since he came to the Mid-South. Levi Andrews would then claim that there is cause for celebration, as tonight will now feature 2 title matches, with Fraley closing out the night, much to the surprise of the champion. So Bronson Fraley's big mouth got himself in a little bit of hot water here, and Levi Andrews making him pay for it, booking him into a title defense against we don't know who tonight. Our first in-ring competition on the actual show, Charlie Thompson and John Wolf locking it up, turning in a segment rating of 18, and that's unfortunate. And we see that there were times where there was a definite lack of psychology on display, and the match had a tendency to drift a little. 2 inexperienced workers with poor psychology, not the best combination here, and there was a lack of flow to the match, which took away from the drama, although they do turn in a wrestling rating of 27, and the crowd heat ends at white hot after the match, Charlie Thompson losing to John Wolf here. Next match, we got the debut of Joel Cartwright going up against Yavraj Tanel, the T-Man. And you see a great in-ring performance from Joel Cartwright at 39. Tanel was able to keep up, performing at 25, and Cartwright got a very good rating on his gimmick. Match rating got a total of 30. So Joel Cartwright may be in store for some big things here in the WHAM. Going on to the next match, the Junior Heavyweight Championship match, our very first triple threat that we've ever had in this company. Albie Dewberry, Kyson Mays, and Wayne Blankenship. Albie Dewberry would successfully defend his championship when he submitted Kyson Mays with the claw hold. Our junior heavyweights really tried to steal the show here, and Albie Dewberry carried the match with an in-ring performance of 41. Wayne Blankenship only had an in-ring performance of 25. The boy has definitely slid down a little bit, and Albie Dewberry has definitely risen up. But Albie Dewberry in back-to-back shows defending his junior heavyweight championship. And Wayne Blankenship, he received one more match to challenge for the title, and he could not come through with it. Moving on to our main event, Bronson Fraley defending his heavyweight championship against Blue Mage. Bronson Fraley would be able to put away his opponent cleanly with a double arm faceplant. This is the 7th defense of the WHAM Heavyweight Championship, and he has held that thing for over a year. Bronson Fraley turned in an in-ring performance of 32, and Blue Mage had that in-ring performance of 28. So these two turning in a segment rating of 27, but that's not it for the night. Ending it out with Neil Allman making it clear that he will not be ignored, getting right in the face of the champion before he could celebrate his victory, and the night would end with an intense stare down between Bronson Fraley and Neil Allman. So we got a segment rating of 30 here, and overall I'm feeling good about the show. We get some tension between the champion and a very popular contender who really hasn't had a fair shake at getting his shot at the championship. So we're performing in front of a crowd of 89. Overall rating for the show is a 29. I'm sure we would have gotten into the 30s if our first match was a little bit better. But overall, good matches throughout the night. We only had a few angles, but some good things to work on in this episode. And we got Albie Dewberry and Joel Cartwright receiving praise. And then you see our profit of $31 after this show. All we needed was to cut the travel of one of our long distance guys. That's Victor Garza. He had the night off. Friedrich Herzog stepped into the role of road agent, and he did pretty well. Now, of course, this would mean that we cannot use Friedrich Herzog in the in-ring capacity, but that is just something that we're going to have to navigate. Overall, I'm feeling good about our direction, and I think this will be a great place to end it here for this episode. Next episode, we dive into 1928. Get ready for the 3rd edition of the Derby, as well as the Spectacle of Amazing Grapples. But with that being said, thank you so much to the real ones on Patreon. You guys are awesome, and I greatly appreciate your support. Everyone else, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.